Trucks! Oh my God. Monica's in the truck. Say hello.
I'm in the truck. Say hello.
Monica's in the truck. Say hello. It's Trucks Household. Trucks.
Trucks. No Nick, though.
Yeah, Nick's at work. What
Nick's always gone.
Nick's always gone.
Bye, Nick.
Bye, Nick. Hello, sports.
Hello, sports.
Also, look at this Sierra Nevadas. This is a very scenic place that we ended up starting our truck in. We're at a gravel pit.
Yes, and we're taking that gravel to L.A. Plaster and Sons.
This is pretty good. It's a pretty good situation, all told. We're in a beautiful area, and we're going to the megalopolis, which I'm sure will have more than 5 buildings, even in mini America.
And we're here to talk about the all-American subject of sports.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
What's
Here's
wrong?
sport number 1, getting over this guy.
Oh my God, it's an intelligence test again.
This could be a competitive event.
All
This
right.
could be an e-sport.
So in honor of, what's his name, Boys? In honor of Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Boys?
Not
No.
Joseph Boys, like Richard Boys.
John Boys, isn't it?
Yeah, Jimmy Boys.
Mini boys?
He wrote some fiction about football that people like.
He's released another in a series of magnum opuses that I'm only just now aware of. This one's called 17776, and it's about far future football, except it's mostly about the far future.
Side note about this thing, before we get into sports.
Yes.
It opens with... The very first thing that happens is it looks like an article about football, right? What will football look like in the future, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And as you scroll down, the text gets huge and gradually fills the screen to black. And the first 2 times I looked at this, I had to close the tab because that seriously gave me the willies.
The text is something is terribly wrong. Something is terribly wrong. Something is terribly wrong. Something is
Yeah.
terribly wrong.
It's actually the full text of an article, I think. There's a whole fake article that he wrote.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Most of those words are something is terribly wrong.
Oh, yeah?
But
Okay.
that may have gotten into the back of your brain and
Maybe.
giving you them willies.
It's just the same thing that happens when I make a bunch of things and everything grow too fast. It just, oh God, no! It's just, it's a recently discovered phobia of mine is whatever that is.
Unchecked replication.
Yeah.
It's a pretty reasonable growth. It's a pretty reasonable fear to have.
Unreasonable.
My mirror's on the wrong side.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ah, perfect.
But anyway,
in honor of this thing, which has kind of spread among my particular Tumblr universe pretty widely, and will
I've seen it shared like crazy.
maybe hip a bunch of people who normally wouldn't read a sports writer to the work of this guy, who's still definitely a sports writer. And it reminded me, of the fact that I really actually like the work of sports writers by and large, because they are a wacky crew and always have been. But B, that we have never talked about non-fake sports on the trucks and our relationship to non-fake sports, even though it's like a thing that is a huge deal in America.
Yes. Honk honk.
Why don't we-
honk if you love sports.
Why don't we go around the room a little and talk about how we feel about sports generally? Josh, you want to go first?
I don't care about sports.
Josh doesn't care about sports.
I don't hate him though. Like you don't want to be that guy who's like, Americans or whatever. People talking about sports all the time.
I gotta say, Americans are not even like more into sports than other people.
It's true.
Everybody is into sports.
Americans do like stupid sports.
Well, not like your people with their cricket.
American football is a little stupid. Baseball is fine.
Okay, let's move into that particular individual sports shaming part of the discussion later on.
If I were to like a sport, I think it would be basketball.
Okay. So Josh has, even though Josh loves games and his life
you
is
know what,
basically all about games, Josh doesn't like sports.
Sports are less interesting.
Than games. Mm-hmm. Sports are games.
Yeah, but they're less interesting than video games.
Okay.
Dota 2 is the best sport. Actually, I really do like auto sport. Auto sport is pretty cool to me. I don't follow it.
How is that interesting?
Sorry, I like it.
All right. So no internal consistency to be had there. Monica, how do you feel about sports?
My relationship to sport.
Sport?
My family really likes baseball.
You really like baseball.
I just don't have any team allegiances. I like to watch it, and I like to play it, and I like to play volleyball, and I like to play badminton, and I like to crush Josh
At badminton?
at badminton and also volleyball.
Yeah, I get. It's
He's
true.
Not good at that stuff.
I used to be. I used to take a racket sports class. Used to be okay.
We whiffed that whiff-waff around. Mm-hmm. You whiffed the waffle and hit the ball.
You do have a shirt that says Iron Pigs.
Yeah, that's a baseball team.
From Pittsburgh?
They're from, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
from Pittsburgh. That's an
They're
incredibly
a feeder
Pittsburghy name to
team
have.
the Phillies.
You got any loyalty to the Iron Pigs?
Oh yeah, I mean they're the like local team. That's really fun.
But none of us follow what happens in sports, right? I mean, go ahead, Isaac. What's your sport?
Yeah, my dad went to college on a sports scholarship. Albeit he went to an Ivy League school on a sports scholarship. So
Your dad is sports?
yeah, my dad is sports. My
Okay.
dad played. My dad got into college with a soccer scholarship, and then changed to basketball, and he played college basketball.
Oh.
And he has continued to play basketball for a long time as a recreational thing. He was part of a league of lawyers in Portland who
That
played
sounds scary.
really nasty,
Oh my god!
foul-ridden basketball, which I would go to as a kid. And Portland, where I grew up, the only like major professional sports team is also b-ball. So I went to a bunch of basketball games when I was a kid, and I've definitely watched more basketball than I have any other kind of sports. But yeah, since my dad is a sporty type, despite being
A nerd.
in
Poindexter.
many other
Nerd.
respects, I have
Hi, Bob.
I have.
Thanks for listening.
So glad to find this out about you.
He my dad tried to teach me to do things like catch a ball. It was a struggle. I was an uncoordinated child, but I got there eventually. And like I figured out how to like move my body like well after it would have been useful for things like Little League and such.
The sport I have the most memories of playing with my parents.
Wait, I have to correct something.
Okay.
We said that they were the Pittsburgh Iron Pigs, but they're actually Bethlehem Steel, I think.
Okay.
Okay,
Iron
okay.
Pigs.
Cool,
I
cool.
think. Okay. Not
So
Pittsburgh.
just around there
yeah.
in that region.
The region.
In the
Continue.
sad.
How many
Anecdote.
sports fans in the Trucks audience do you think we're going to call you out on?
Well, maybe it's like
Minor
You don't
league.
know. You just don't know.
when you're out there in
can't
Sadness,
know.
Pennsylvania, like
Yeah.
you
It's
have very few
specific.
things to
Everything
hold
is so
on
specific.
to. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm glad that this punchline got to simmer for a little bit. The sport that I remember playing the most with my parents was croquet.
Stop.
Oh, you upper class. Did you ever get a croquet? Did you ever get to do that thing where you mash somebody's ball into the weeds? Or when you say you were playing, when
Is
you
that
said
a
you
thing?
played,
Game.
yes. When you say you play croquet, and your parents were you in fact just faffing around with balls and hoops rather than actually playing croquet?
Yeah, it was a little
have?
a casual setup game of croquet in my grandma's backyard in Wales. It was a nice little time, I guess.
Oh.
This should leave you. This didn't whet your appetite
It basically
for sports.
no, it basically felt like crazy golf, you know, but,
Yeah.
but less fun because there's no dragons or windmills.
That's a shame. My mom and we occasionally, when I was younger, used to go out and play regular golf and annoy everybody else on the golf course because we were playing as if it were crazy golf. Because
you
my
know-
mom has a deeply antisocial streak.
I feel I should also mention, having just remembered it, that I played like Little League soccer as a kid too.
Hey,
Aw, yeah.
I played Little League baseball. Dude, what'd you play?
Little League baseball and soccer.
Dang.
Yeah.
The memory sticks with me very vividly, and it comes up a lot, like when I'm playing Overwatch, for instance. Like team dysfunction, a great metaphor for team dysfunction is
Child
Little League
game.
soccer, where all the kids run up to the ball and like from all sides kick it simultaneously.
As if trying to dispense rough street justice on the soccer ball.
The thing you do in soccer is kick the ball. You chase the ball and you kick the ball. Just do that, and it'll probably work.
And this attitude moves over to.
Overwatch?
You would think that people
Just
would.
any video game with a team.
Oh yeah, except ironically, if kick the ball were the thing, then it would be protect the objective, and people don't do that.
Well, I mean,
Let's shoot the person.
In objective-based first-person shooters, it's going for kills instead of playing the objective, right?
Yeah.
Although, like, Rocket League is actually a good example of this kind of thing, because that's what people
It's-
do when they're bad, is they just chase the ball.
Because it's soccer.
Yeah.
It's just soccer.
It's soccer with cars, therefore better.
Yes, and you
Bumper
would
cars.
play that game and not FIFA,
The FIFA seems a little, I don't know.
right?
With FIFA, I mean,
Is it
the
because
problem with
sports are
FIFA
too normy?
No, the problem with FIFA actually gets into the problem I have with sports, which is that if you want to be into FIFA, you have to. Well, you don't have to, but you're expected to buy it every year just for the roster update and some new stupid shinies.
Man.
And in a way, this has.
And you have to buy sports every year too.
Well, you see, what I'm getting at is that this has a kind of a similar feeling to it.
With
Sports,
please.
I don't mind the games involved in sports. I just don't like the. It's not the culture, but it's the structure. It's the. There's a sketch from the
Mitchell and Webb.
yeah, that's the one, the Mitchell and Webb look.
Yeah.
Where it's a good sketch where David Mitchell is just like walking very aggressively, kind of doing a Vince McMahon walk through a soccer field, like doing. What are some of the lines from that? It's like, who will win the football this year?
There will be more football. There will always be more football. The football will never be over.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Just the interminable nature of it. The drama of it is something it seems to be the centerpiece element of it, is the drama about which team is going to win, and it's just, I find that no, going to win like the league, you know? If it were on the scale of the game, I wouldn't. If it were on the scale of the game, I would think that perfectly sensible. But it's more like who's going to come on top this year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year. You know, I find this impossible to care about.
Oh wow, because I think that's the thing that activates the nerdly part of sports fans.
Definitely.
Because that's where you start getting into stats, and what's when you start getting to be nerdy about stats, and also it provides that great overarching narrative that allows it to be a sort of fan of a fiction as well as a fan of being a game in that way, because narratives spin themselves out of these things with the help of branding and sports writers and
and it's cool when the underdog.
Capitalism.
It's cool when the underdog wins the league. Don't get me wrong. When the Red Sox won that one time, I was like, "Hey, neat, an anomaly."
Is it the fact that it's not anomalous enough that's the issue?
It's the fact that
there isn't enough there to keep it interesting inherently.
Yeah, and like the teams, like I have some teams that belong to the cities I've lived in, but none of the players of those teams live in those cities, so that gets a little hard to invest in.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, some of
them.
them
They just didn't grow up in there. They have to live in the city.
Yeah, fine, whatever. They came to live there because they now.
Fly them out for
do you think sports would be better if all local teams had to be made of local players?
That would add a certain element.
You're being drafted into the team.
Do you then find Olympics better than normal sports because you have to be from the place?
I like the Olympics.
Okay. So when it's about what country is actually better as opposed to which one has more money to get people in,
no, I still don't care about what country is better. The narrative feels less contrived when the representatives of a team have something to do with the place.
And this is why we like wrestling, is because it's way less contrived.
Oh, no. It's because wrestling owns the fact that it's contrived and can therefore do things with it.
Exactly. That is exactly it. I mean, I think that a lot of sports is probably fixed to make it more exciting, don't you? Like, not overtly fixed, but like the refs know what side their bread is buttered on in terms of like the kind of calls they make.
I mean, it's fixed in the sense that the best teams are the best because they can afford the best players.
That's true, but like, there's some effort. It's bad for the business as a whole if particular teams are too dominant for too long, and so I think that their effort is made to keep things at least a little bit fresh on that.
There might be some.
On that score, so how, in terms of like the experience of watching a particular sports game, what is the best sports game to watch?
Baseball, because Josh thinks he'll get hit by a ball.
Because
he fears for the children.
Well, there's a distinction between live
about
sports and TV sports. When we're talking about doing it live, then yes.
Going to see live sports has like so little to do with watching the game play out.
Yeah. Particularly with cricket.
I've never seen live cricket.
Cricket takes place over multiple days, and individual games are like 6 hours, or individual day sessions are like 6 hours long.
But I don't want to let this pass by.
People bring books.
The fucking.
It's not for normal people.
How do people take their babies to baseball games? Like, if a foul ball hit your baby in the skull,
They don't really like those babies.
Those things can just fly 60, 80, 100 miles an hour directly into your baby's tiny little skull.
They only bring the babies they don't like.
Yeah, pretty confident in your ability to catch a ball.
Yeah.
only sporty people bring their babies, so they'll become sports babies.
Like, they're not all fly balls that, like, you can see coming. Some of them are projectiles directly at you.
Yeah, no, it's probably better if you don't have your baby in, like, line drive territory. But, that's what batting cages are for.
I do like the ambience of a baseball game.
Right? There's something cool about being in an arena,
Yeah.
just in and of itself, no matter what's going on there. And sports, because they are simple enough that everybody can get on board if they're not snobs, they they attract a lot of folks. And so you get the big arena experience more. Are you all right there, Monica?
Dig!
I'm allowed to not like sports without being a snob.
I'm trying to act counter to the narrative that because we're a bunch of nerds, that we automatically aren't going to like sports. But that narrative has been complicated by like Moneyball kind of shit anyway. It's like,
ironically, as someone who doesn't particularly care about sports, it still grinds my gears how much bullshit there is at a baseball game. Like the potato sack race. Here's the kid who has to throw the ball in the fucking cup.
You can blame capitalism.
If he wins,
for that.
he'll get a
something to
signed
keep the
hat.
crowd interested during commercials.
Yeah.
If it weren't for commercials, there would be much less bullshit.
I guess
They have
that's
those
true.
mascots running around.
But like it's funny
The
because
goblins.
they have someone in the stadium who's like announcing all of the bullshit, but who is absolutely silent about the baseball. So you get the feeling arises that this bullshit is actually the main event here, and between the bullshit there's some baseball. I don't know. Just let me hear the.
Oh, that was a good hit.
There is play-by-play.
Enjoy that.
There is play-by-play announcing for baseball. It's just not piped into the
Not over the
stadium.
loudspeaker.
Yeah, it's not over the loudspeaker.
Yeah,
but-
that would be really weird.
Yeah, just
Then
like
the
it
players would
would
hear
be
it.
really weird if they did
The players would
play-by-play.
have their lives narrated as they happened.
It would be equally weird if they did play-by-play announcing for the potato sack race, which they do.
Yeah, but the kids aren't aware.
That's a joke. It's for the joke.
It's for the joke? I think it's for the
joke.
kids.
And also, it's because that part's not being broadcast.
Yeah.
Yes, and so it's for the kids. It's for the kids, Josh.
All baseball is for the kids. No,
definitely
I don't actually believe that.
Not for the kids. They have squishy heads.
Nick sat us down to watch a documentary about baseball a little bit ago, and it was the kind of documentary which is nothing but hagiography. Hagiography? How do you say this word, Isaac?
We only
Hero
got
worship.
one episode in, didn't we?
Hero worship, yes.
Yeah.
About baseball, just a bunch of old men getting on screen to say baseball's the most American thing besides jazz. Baseball's the best game. Baseball. I love baseball. They tell me why. Tell me about baseball. I read a good poem once about pitching.
It's the crack of the bat. It's the snap of the glove.
It's the taste of the dog.
It's the grass in your cleats. It's the ball from above. It's
the still air of the stadium.
the pop, the corn. It's the
It's the girl who's gonna sing the national anthem, the high school girl who starts the audience off for the sing along by going, "Are you ready? 1, 2." No, I'm sorry. What did she do? She didn't sing 1, 2, 3, 4. She said 3, 2, 1, go. That was it. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, so sick.
America.
Well, I mean, that's it, right? It's like maybe sports are evil because they're part of the corn-fed, but that's specifically baseball and football are evil because they reify the lifestyles of people who we despise, like Monica's people out there in the boonies.
I like my
who
people.
vote the wrong
I don't
way.
They're all very
despise
dirty.
these people. I just find them really funny.
I know. I'm intentionally trying to start shit,
Yeah.
which I shouldn't even need to explain. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, I mean,
drifted across the link as I was trying to figure out what Monica was
it's
doing.
shared culture and ritual, and it's like also one of the the most broad-based pieces of shared culture we've got left.
Yeah.
Like the Superb Bowl is enjoyed by
The superb owl. Oh, that's an old joke.
Yes, it is. And you notice how I did not make it?
It's a good joke.
It is one, but no, it's passed into the realm where we can't touch it anymore. Eventually, it'll come back to us via reappropriation of old mimetic content because we were recyclers.
Yeah.
But yeah, but what I was saying is like it's all that we have left. It's the glue.
Glue.
Fascists and communists alike,
Glue.
they like baseball.
Glue.
They also like Breaking
Team
Bad.
sports, they shouldn't though. Breaking Bad's terrible.
They do though.
More people like baseball than like Breaking Bad.
Glue.
Maybe.
More people like football than like baseball.
I definitely saw more Breaking Bad discourse while Breaking Bad was on than I ever saw sports discourse.
Well, that's the thing. This guy who is great and who we had never heard of until he did a thing that was so overtly science fiction-y that it sort of broke out of this little bubble, was completely invisible to us because we don't even look at sports stuff.
Yeah.
Like John Teddy's writing about football in the AV Club is massively entertaining. It's one of my favorite things about it when football season is on. And like, I only click on that because I've run out of other content, or that was what it was like initially. Do you mind? Are you bored? Would you like to talk about sports for a while? No, talk about sports. I've been talking about sports too long. You talk about sports.
Just for the record, Isaac plays with coins on my desk all the time while we're doing tricks.
You should leave them in your desk.
Not in such an involved fashion.
Don't leave
And mostly I
toys.
squeeze ketchup packets like this.
Whoa.
Honk, honk, honk. Send a ketchup packet.
Fine.
Honk.
Remember that time you squeezed open a ketchup packet on trucks?
Yes, I did.
Legendary.
I remember that very well. I'm always tempted to try to recreate it, but it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't spontaneous, and I'd be covered in ketchup. Oh man,
What is it about the game of baseball? I've been trying to understand. I don't particularly get that game.
You got all your components. You got the running, and you've got the sliding, and you've got the
Yes.
throwing, the catching,
It's like the modern.
and the smacking.
The smacking? Who do you smack in baseball?
You smack the ball with the bat.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true. Yes.
and occasionally other people, but not on purpose.
Yeah.
It's like the modern pentathlon.
Is it okay? Like, is it a valuable aspect of this game that like the winner is often determined by like a single-digit number of unforced errors? Is that a merit?
I mean, that's generally the sign of a game that's played on a high level.
Yeah.
Like a baseline level of ferocious competency is then, it's like who breaks from that level of ferocious competency. But it's also like that doesn't always happen. Sometimes things go wackily one way or another, which is
It's
part
true.
of the joy of it. Like people go on tilt.
There's a bit in Deep Space Nine. There's a baseball episode,
Baseball?
great episode, where Cisco attempts to explain the appeal of baseball, and it relies entirely on an utterly fantastical scenario, which would never happen. It doesn't even make sense. Like someone fails to be tagged by what is it, by the ball. Someone is not. What's the word?
No.
Someone
you
fails
keep
to be
going.
sports balled. Yes.
He isn't made to be out.
Yes.
He's the runner. And
Yeah.
so he goes and hides in the benches, and like the guy with the ball has to like individually hit everybody on the benches with the ball, and then the guy who's the runner bolts just before he's hit and like runs for home base. And Cisco's like, "That's what I love about this game. You never know what's gonna happen, and I know what's not gonna happen. That."
Yeah.
That strikes
would
me
not happen.
as a thing that is written by somebody who is
Doesn't
a
care about
science fiction
baseball.
writer rather than a sports fan.
Yeah.
Can't go outside the diamond.
I'll tell you what I like about baseball. I like all of the micro narratives in baseball. I like the micro narrative about closing, like the myth. Like they have pitchers whose job it is just to pitch the last inning because they're particularly good at that. Like
It seems like
they have-
stats.
yeah, like it's the way that because there's so much money and attention involved in this. It's like the way that they've broken down this into such a science, and the meta shifts like year on year. Also, like the ways that players are evaluated are changed. But that's also, and like the science of it is overlaid on layers of superstition and tradition. So, like, you get things like how in basketball, you will do way better in basketball if you throw granny shots. Underhand, if you do your free throws underhand rather than overhand.
Is that true?
Yeah, no, it's way more.
I will do better.
No. Like any professional basketball player will be massively more successful at hitting free throws because it's a way more stable and reliable way to make sure a shot.
Why do they do it the other way?
Because it looks stupid.
That's for real.
That's real.
But they get
They call
paid
it
for winning these
granny
games.
shots.
Yeah,
It
but
looks
it's
stupid.
but it's real.
But they get paid so much more money if they win the game.
Like the one guy who insisted on doing it, even though he like had a better field three throw percentage than anybody else in the league, got so much shit for it.
This is stupid. Sports are stupid.
I love sports, man. I love humans. The reason that I like sports is because it is just such a mess of.
You've officially turned me against sports.
Oh!
But it like.
That's scrub shit. That's scrub tier stuff. All athletes are scrubs, I've learned today.
Maybe it's just basketball, Josh. Maybe in baseball they've.
Dunking is effective, like jumping up to the ring. If it's
To the ring?
to the hoop,
Step up to the ring!
Please describe more sports things.
the circle.
What do you call it?
Making direct contact with the circle seems like the most effective way to land a slammy dunk.
What do you call the thing that you're trying to kick the football towards when you're doing a field goal in football?
A big kick.
No, the target, not the
physical
act
object.
itself.
Oh, the Y.
It's definitely
The steel
more,
Y.
It's definitely more of a U.
It's totally a
Not
Y.
stick.
That the U is what the stick is what makes it a Y. It's like in a digital clock kind of font.
Do you think that if we waited long enough, it would turn
Into a Z.
advanced football? This is exactly the kind of out of the box thinking that makes this.
That would be
wider
good. Yeah,
than
a big
we're talking
diagonal
about.
bar across the field goal. Is
Yeah.
that what it's called? No, that's the thing that happens. That's the event.
Yeah, no, it's the end zone. Jargon is of its own self valuable.
How hilarious that you would call a hoop a ring. Those words are so dissimilar. Is he gonna hula hoop in the basketball ring? Ridiculous.
The basketball ring.
It's the basketball ring. That is what it's called, isn't it?
What?
The ring. The hoop. Shit. Whatever.
I was like, basketball isn't played in a ring. Wrestling is.
What's happening right now is I'm landing all my granny throws, and, like, you're judging me.
I do apologize. Do you have a better name for the granny throws than the granny throws?
No, that's an excellent name.
Cool. It's granny shots, incidentally. Anyway, yeah, baseball's great. It's because it's all about math. And, like, athletes who are kind of husky and have bellies, but are still really good at their jobs because that doesn't matter so much when you're a baseball player.
This is a genuine point of difference between sports and esports. And before I go into this, like, I want to say that I'm being a bit farcical when I say that esports are better than sports. But one real thing is that, as you say, sports played at a high level are about the unforced errors, right? The usually small amount of errors that are made.
Not always.
Yeah, often.
Depends on the game.
In esports, that's very much not the case. Esports are much more about, like, who can land the most improbable, far-out play.
Yeah, I mean, the basketball is more like that than baseball is.
Yeah, true that. Oh, fuck, and that's why I like basketball.
It's more action-oriented rather than plan-oriented. You know, baseball and, to a certain extent, football are more like, you know, turn-based strategy games rather than real-time strategy games.
How come there's no, like, competitive civilization league?
Because
so
that
many
game
reasons.
is kind of broken.
It's mostly broken because of the AI. Yeah, but also that would be ponderous to watch.
Yeah,
almost like
not
cricket.
more. Thank you. You got there like 5 seconds before I did. Yeah, I mean, those video games are indeed like, if the idea of football is to simulate war, which is, you know, definitely on one level what the idea of football is. Video games are going to be better at simulating like modern warfare, particularly modern warfare, than football is. So if that's what you're into it for, I'm into it for the anachronistic elements more than the
Sports?
modernistic ones. Yeah,
The old, like, chewing tobacco, spitting in your bucket,
scratching.
doing these old timey bat wiggles before you hit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old stories,
There's a lot of
bloopers.
There's an awful lot of
And
display.
signals.
I gotta say that sports bloopers are better than video game bloopers.
That's true.
Yeah, because
Except, like, the ones where it's like the guy was flying through the air, jumping off the motorcycle with a shotgun the guy in the face while
That-
flying at 50 miles an hour.
I think that PUBG has perhaps, but you know the reason
PUBG is not the first game.
the
with-
reason that worked so well is that PUBG is a serious game. That would not have been nearly as funny if it hadn't happened in PUBG.
Yeah.
But that is beside the point. What was the point?
The point was
Sports
are just gonna keep happening no matter what I say.
No matter what you say about it. I think that they're funny and fun and culturally.
Stop. Not talking to you, talking to the car.
Okay.
Okay.
Just stop.
You don't want to do
Monica, you should get in the last word.
Monica should.
Yeah.
Tell us about your favorite baseball memory. Speak up.
Like playing baseball or watching baseball?
Whatever.
Don't care. Baseball.
Okay. As a youngin', the first time that I ever had iced coffee was before a softball game.
Holy shit.
And I drank the whole thing before I went onto the field, and then I basically had like a nervous breakdown on the field. It was an enormous amount of caffeine for a little body.
This is your favorite memory.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was really memorable.
So how'd that play out?
I think I couldn't play.
You got sent to the nurse's office? Wow.
Smooch.
Sports bloopers. He was in the end zone and he collided with another player.
Doesn't matter if you're in the end zone already. So I gotta say, like, I distinctly remember to this day, and I was like 6, 7, 8. I distinctly remember the one time that I did something good in Little League baseball.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh, boy. I'm really fucked now.
I got on base, and one time I got on base, and one time I threw the ball to the right person.
Nice.
I distinctly remember how awesome that felt.
Nice.
Like, it was a window into a world where I might be a functional human being, like, and have friends.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there is something to that as well. It's like, it's nice to be celebrated for something so stupid. It's a way. I mean, I understand this works against a lot of us, but it's a way to short circuit certain kinds of feedback. It's just like, oh, you know, you can't really talk to people, but if you're relatively good at throwing a ball,
you'll fucking get into college for free.
No, yeah.
Maybe. You know, you got to find your cheat codes where you can find them.
At this point, I'm just trying to get it to give me the opportunity to skip this parking job.
Nah.
No, wait.
And you're still facing the wrong direction. Yeah?
At this point, I can do the correct maneuver. Do we want to do it?
Do you have a particularly good sports memory?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
From soccer?
See, I don't know. Going to see sports with Monica has been fun every time. I don't know about particular memories. I remember one time, the first time I went to a baseball game, actually, my English cousin was visiting, and it was one of those stupid slow games where nothing was fucking happening, and we went to get some snacks, and while we were getting the snacks, someone hit a home run.
The actual thing
So
happened.
we missed the fireworks and everything, and my cousin said, I knew that was going to happen. And that is my most vivid memory of a sports. I failed my maneuver.
Yes, you did.
How did I do this one time? I remember there was a truck where I figured this out and did it, and it was great. But this is not going to be that truck. This time I'm actually going to skip it. Do you have a good sports memory? Did you already share it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the time that I didn't fuck up.
Oh, right, yes.
But, like, you know, sports, in terms of, like, you know, the role of sports,
Satisfactory.
Sports is what allows you to, you know, to hang out and have a good time with your girlfriend's family.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like one of the only places where you can, like, exert physicality with other people.
Not in the audience.
Oh, yeah.
Playing the sport.
All the backslapping.
I meant playing the sport.
Fist
Yeah.
pumping.
Sport.
Yeah.
That's true. There's for people who aren't me, there's something important about that.
And you can use that to access important things about people in a way that actually doesn't require very much from you.
What do you mean?
It's like you waggle your body around and they laugh at how bad you are at it, but you showed willing and you've gotten points. That's great. It's a really, really straightforward way to get
Every time
points
I've done
with
that,
people.
it's been a really negative experience. I've
Like for you personally, or
yeah, like I've been, you know, the reaction to me having a go has not been positive. It's been, oh, fuck this guy. He sucks. Don't pass the ball to him. It begins to feel like ostracization.
Well, you gotta not do it when you're a kid. I think that's the problem. It's like school. The way that we do sports and education when we're kids is enough to sour you on it for life, when it should be like a goofy thing that you do to bond with people, which is, I think, how it generally is in adult life.
Fair enough.
Heck yeah. Good Minton was had.
Yeah. The Minton, man. That's what it should be like. The
Yeah.
Minton.
Yeah.
Getting destroyed at badminton.
Yeah, that was fun. I won't
Keeping
deny
your
it.
volley going.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for sports. Continue the sports. Don't stop the sports on my account. Good night.